A short time ago, I asked Hickey from interest.co.nz for his reaction to Bill English's claims that New Zealand is in a better position than many countries.
It's true, over the last 3 or 4 years we've done a lot better than many others. That's because of our strong connections to Australia and to China, who have come out of this crisis much better than everyone else. But the issue now is this world central banks and governments are running out of ammunition to deal with this crisis, and we're starting to see China slow its growth. For the last 3 months, its factory output has weakened, and the Australian economy is starting to hit some serious headwinds as well. So the issue for New Zealand is how quickly does China slow down, and will Australia be affected? And if both of those things happen, then we're in for a tougher time over the next couple of years than perhaps we saw over the last couple of years.
What do you see for the future here?
Well, our economy has been stronger than most other places, but even in the last year or so we've seen us dip down, partly because of the earthquake, but also because of these slowing global markets, and because commodity prices, certainly in the last 3 to 4 months, have come off their peaks. The issue for New Zealand is how much China and Australia are affected, and also how much our funding costs for our foreign debt increase. It's been noticeable in the last 3 to 4 weeks that what they call the credit default swap spreads, which are one measure of the expense of funding New Zealand's foreign debt, they have risen back to levels we saw during the Lehman crisis of 2008. So there is a risk, if things don't settle down in the next 6 to 12 months, that some of the funding costs for our debt increase. And when that happened last, we saw a slight increase in our mortgage margins. That's one of the risks over the next year or two, that we could see mortgage rates increase even though the official cash rate does not.
In terms of our share market here, people have been saying it's weathered the storm to date, but does that mean much?
It is important that our stock market has improved relative to the rest of the world. That's partly because many of the stocks on our market are mostly domestically focused stocks, often in monopoly positions with very regular cash flows coming through. We always have to pay the power bill or pay the Sky bill or pay the bill for telecom, and so those revenues are a lot more solid. We don't have the bank stocks, which can be quite volatile, and they certainly have been overseas, and we don't have the exporters on the stock market. So our stock market has weathered the storm quite well. Whether it continues to will depend on how much markets fall offshore in the next couple of weeks.
In terms of a global recovery, are we going to have to weather this double-dip recession before things can start to improve again? Is it inevitable now?
Well, there's a couple of things going in our favour. Firstly, we'll have the quake rebuild next year, which should help boost economic activity. Also, we've had the Rugby World Cup. It is boosting spending somewhat, and consumers are feeling a bit better about the world, so they're spending a bit more. But still, we have this heavy weight of household debt, which means that many people are not choosing to spend, they're not choosing to borrow more, and that's keeping a lid on the economy. So the outlook is for not a quick rebound from the recession that we saw a couple of years ago, but more of a slow pattern. And of course it all depends on what happens internationally. If we see the European and US economies slide back into full recession and China doesn't continue its growth rate, then we have some real risks over the next year or two, and it's something that politicians will have to think about going into the election campaign. If our budget doesn't get back into surplus by 2014-15, and we'll find out from the Treasury in the next couple of weeks, what will both sides of politics do about it? Will they continue to run up big deficits and spending, or will they choose to make some cuts? I actually think whoever wins government on November the 26th will have to enact a black budget next year because of this.
Hickey, thank you for your time.